8 minutes, and you might be like, oh, ShoWTimE has barely lost anything. What's so special? The fact that Serral has not lost anything against the way that ShoWTimE has been playing. This is a nice little move though by Maru. That's going to give him a little bit of confidence. A few zealots getting a cancel on that hatchery in the top left side. Oh. But besides this, I have been incredibly impressed by the gameplay of Serral so far. Or one Archon with battery overcharge saves the day, then Serral is actually going to be in a lot of trouble. So here we go, Steadfast first sportswoods go down. I think we could maybe go for a battery overcharge, but ShoWTimE is just kind of casually waiting. And so far, Maru is absolutely living up to his name, but there is a gap.
There is a gap on the top left side. We do have it getting broken through. Sidestorm not yet done. 2 seconds, 1 second. The Banelings will not connect. However, is it going to matter? The Lings are going to get on top of this. They killed 2 of the High Templar, force that Archon morph. The 1 storm that came down wasn't enough there. And while Maru holds...
Like he does it on purpose. He's like, Serral, I've got no battery, keep on attacking me. And then he keeps on picking everything off.
I mean, I wonder. I hope he puts the battery now, because at this point he is moving out with the Stalkers, but maybe there, I'm wondering.
Ooh, that Evolution Chamber, by the way, that could be a target, because +2 melee is a very important upgrade. But Serral is going to Baning Buzz. He says, you don't have a battery, well mate, I am going to punish that. So far, the crisis management is excellent. That Baneling could have had a phenomenal connection. At the same time, we have Link surrounding the 5th base of ShoWTimE, and this is a very important one, because this is where he found a lot of success against Lambo, even if he ended up losing this map in the end. But having that spot, being so close to the Zerg.
And he is going to try and bulldog his way up the ramp. 2-2 Stalkers, are they going to be enough? This is so much Zerg. Lings, Banes flooding on forward. Battery overcharge is popped. And for the moment, the line is holding, but the Hydras are closing in. The Lings and Banes, they're trying to get into the mineral line. Those juicy probes. Oh, they're all stacked up on the gas! 14 probes go down. And that is looking like it is all she wrote potentially here for ShoWTimE. He plummets below 100 supply.
I mean, that was a phenomenal battery overcharge.
Just gained so much value. Serral will initially push this away, but ShoWTimE, he's going to be sharking around with his those queens. Oh, he gets it. Nice job. ShoWTimE commits up the ramp. Serral dodges the disruptor shot, sends in the Lings. The flank is in full effect. A big disruptor shot on the back end, but is it too much? Almost all the disruptors go down. More Stalkers are going to warp in.
We gotta go, ShoWTimE.
We
absolutely have to go. We are a base down. We are 12 workers behind. And I know it's hard, but I think we're just gonna have to stand there and kind of micro Stalkers back one by one. Because every second that goes by right now is a bad one. We have lost 3 out of the 4 disruptors, and there is only so much that a single disruptor can accomplish. Yes, as this one gets picked off too. Good job there by Serral. That's risky, because imagine if you don't get it. But Serral probably never had any doubt that he was going to get it. There's so much creep for Yona to work with here as well. Stalkers being pushed all the way towards the bottom right side, and this could very well be it. GG gets called.
And the attack. Storm is going to complete for this, but we're going to see the bust down at the natural just before the shield battery completes. The Lings will flood on in. The Mutas are going to turn around and fight the Stalkers with the Ling support. This is so devastating for ShoWTimE already.
Yes. I mean, as long as he doesn't completely fall apart, that one cannon is gonna get cancelled. Okay, the Mutas making it into the pocket expand. Like, losing 10 probes or so was totally acceptable, but now we've already lost 24. And now the High Templars are a little bit exposed as well. It is raining storms though. That's a decent amount of Mutas going down. That one Phoenix is the Phoenix with the golden gun. 1 shot, 1 kill.
On that base.
Yeah, that battery has a crazy amount of potential. There is a cannon as well. The Mutas are gonna keep the Phoenixes in the main army busy. Here comes that Link drop, but I think with a cannon, battery, and 2 Archons, I kind of think it's okay. Serral obviously knows that the battery there is very problematic, but doesn't seem like there is a crazy amount of Lings remaining. The Archons and Zealots have +2. Mutas are not finding all that much success. ShoWTimE needs to make damn sure he doesn't lose all the Phoenixes immediately, but this seems to be another pretty successful hold. Serral wouldn't be Serral if he's not already transitioning, where he's like, alright, I cannot win the game anymore with just Lings, Mutas, and yeah, that's basically all that he was working with.
Win right here, and he is going to be trying to get in here. I don't know if he's scouted the Greater Spire, but he is going to be hitting before those Broodlords start up. Big storms to start things off. The creep spread, though, is very daunting. You really don't want to push into this much creep. Even into Hydra Ling Bane, it's or Ravager Ling Bane, it's very uncomfortable. Nice quick response, but the probes are still going to get bottled up, and 10 probes will go down. Oh, the Banes!
Oh, the Templars in the center of the map will all go down to just a couple of banelings from Serral. And where ShoWTimE had all the potential in the world to maybe just straight up win the game, suddenly things are starting to look a little bit more awkward. He has managed to sneak a couple of his own stalkers into the pocket expand of Serral, and he has dropped that fleet beacon and those 2 extra stargates. But it felt like it should have been game over. Like how Serral has somehow successfully transitioned into Hive and is now doing whatever he can to save that hatchery. The Stalkers with the final few shots do get that hatch. Most of the Phoenix is going to get picked off to that. This game has just gone bananas.
It really is. He just puts so much pressure on his opponent. We're going to see ShoWTimE trying to find some opening on the bottom side, but this is just hopeless. He is opening up for another attack on the pocket base. He's going to be forced to recall here, and that means this army, at the very least, those Archons are dead. And I would say, well, I mean, ShoWTimE is on a lot of bases still. He's on 92 probes all of a sudden. Currently maxed out, but he's got no bank, so he can't really just throw away a bunch of supply and start building carriers. He needs to still collect more money to get up to that. And there it is. He is going to blink forward, but the fungal growth is going to come on in. The transfuse is going to keep those queens alive. And this is looking, well, this is going to be a successful way to throw away supply, but not in the way you want to. Excellent defensive fight here from Serral. ShoWTimE looking for it, doesn't find the opening.
We have the lurker upgrades on the way now as well. The zealot count here doesn't really do a whole lot. It can maybe soak up a couple of shots. ShoWTimE is just going to send it again. He feels that Serral does not have enough to protect these broodlords, and the lurkers were indeed not there. The lurkers don't have their feisty upgrades yet, but in the end they will burrow and get a couple of shots up. We are still landing fungals on the stalkers too, and it's just a messy, bloody battle here where both players have definitely lost a lot of units. Serral keeps a couple of his key units alive.
Yes, it is certainly quite basic. He is getting into the +2 ship weapons. We are going to see him blink forward once again onto the lurkers. The trap from Serral is sprung, but is it a trap? I mean, the observer saw it and he just went right into it. He actually did better there than I expected. Destabilizer starts up. He sees that he didn't have the fireball just yet.
I wouldn't do that right now, to be honest.
No, Serral cannot be moving out with these units, I don't think.
That's sweet. Serral actually takes control of the Oracle.
Oh, and now he kills it.
Yep, drops the revelation of the Iron Shutdown. He's like, nice ability, bro. Then he picks it up. It's down to execution. If we don't make any silly mistakes with the Tempest, I agree with you that ShoWTimE should be able to walk away with this game and at least make sure that this series goes on a little bit longer, as we do have a fungal going down though and a couple of neuroparasites as well. Is this the one chance for Serral to still make something out of this game?
No, I don't think it is. We're going to be seeing these neural parasites. They will get a couple of these carriers, but can he follow through on this? Another neural parasite. Man, that is a very long-reach neural. Still, there are a few High Templar. That did go very well for Serral.
And now we're going to send the Skytos units over. High Templars, a little too far forward, -2. That's actually kind of a big deal. That's 300 gas down the drain. And did not have to worry about any of that, but now we do have to worry about our little setup in the center. Couple of High Templars, one of them gets picked off, the other two are going to go down as well to a storm to the roaches. All 3 of them, and the pilot, and the static defenses. And even when Serral has very little stuff to work with, he's still finding great moves.
Detestable, really. We are going to see ShoWTimE, though. He says, enough is enough. I'm going to make you come to me. I know that your army can't reposition easily. I'm going to pick off this base. I'm going to make you uncomfortable.
Oh, recall has been used.
Ooh.
So we are going to recall on top of
lurkers.
all these lurkers. The lurkers are going to try to run away. It seems like 2 of them will fall. The lurker number 3 takes a lot of damage. I'm actually worried for ShoWTimE, man. I know a while ago I liked it for ShoWTimE because it really did feel that Serral was broke as a joke and he didn't have any Vipers. Now actually we have 3 Vipers.
Base goes down. ShoWTimE's got no... He's got no gas. He's got 6 probes. This is it. And he now suddenly feels like he's the one who has to get something done. I want to point out how important those High Templar pickoffs are. Normally in this army setup, the Broodlords are what deals with the High Templar. And the Lurkers they can be okay with it, okay at it, but it's hard to be the ones to deal with it, to pick them off.
Obviously with a couple of great feedbacks, there is hope for ShoWTimE too. But the Vipers and Infestors are the true terrifying units here. We do land a Fungal. We land a couple of feedbacks on the Vipers. That's really big. The Fungals may be big, but now there is no Parasitic Bomb available. And without the Vipers, maybe there is hope here for Demour.
There certainly is. We've got the best Time Warp ever cast in a game of Legacy of the Void. It will expire. It's pretty inconsequential, but man, we never see it doing anything. It actually blottled up those queens quite nicely. ShoWTimE was able to pick off a base that surprisingly does still have resources at it, and I think even has gas at it, which is pretty big.
I think both gases have a lot of gas, mate. There is 1500 gas on the left one, and the right one has 1900 gas. So there is still 3.4k gas to fight over.
Nice job from ShoWTimE. Ooh, but the fungal growth, you gotta get out of here, ShoWTimE. I think, does he need to recall? No, there's no Vipers. And the Void Rays are actually gonna push the Corruptors back. This still looks like a very good fight for ShoWTimE.
Yep, there aren't too many Corruptors. Another Storm lands in the middle of the Queens. I don't see any Shrouds anymore either. The Interceptor count is obviously starting to dwindle, but there are still a couple of Void Rays. That Mothership is tanky. The Lynx come in to surround the Templars, though. One Storm is nice. Does Serral have enough anti-air? It's starting to, well...
Oh, it's so close.
Yeah, he's got like no Corruptors. He's got 4 Corruptors, and this is where the Tempest can really shine. And that's why the feedbacks were so damn big on the Vipers in the previous fight. All the Vipers died. Do we have any detection left as we are burrowing the Infestors? I mean, Queens should not win against Capital Protoss units, right?
Well, I mean, those carriers, they're empty. They're dead weight. They literally do nothing. It's the Tempest and the Void Rays, and even the Mothership could actually end up being an MVP. But she is tanking so much damage. We are going to see a huge fungal growth. But does it even matter?
I think it matters, man, because the carriers suck, and all that the Queens need to do is get in range of the Tempest, and they are starting to do it. One more fungal would be insane here. The Tempests are starting to lose a lot of HP. The kiting is great. This is a ridiculous fight. And it's like, oh, ShoWTimE, every unit is so important here for ShoWTimE, of course. Does he still have any detection? Yes, there is still one Oracle. The Queens are going for it one more time. This is one of the silliest endings to a 38-minute game that I've seen in a while, but the Tempest micro is good. It looked like the Queens were in high enough numbers and in range to make the difference, but perhaps they were not. We have a transfuse going down. There are 2 Infestors.
Oh, that Oracle.
There are 2 Infestors, and that is really the only way. Yeah, I think the Queen count is just not high enough anymore. Then again, there are too many Void Rays, there aren't too many. We need some Fungals or Neuroparasite, anything, really. Transfuse is good.
Transfuse is very helpful right here, but it looks like he's out of energy now. The final Corruptor is going to fall. The Tempest, they're kiting back. That one Tempest on the top side. It is coming down to single number of units at this point. We have got Serral with laser focus right there. ShoWTimE, he is fighting his heart out. 38.5 minutes here on Stargazers, and neither player is giving an inch. The Queens at the bottom. We got Lings counterattacking on the bottom side of the map. 0 probes for ShoWTimE.
And one Corruptor, it may seem silly, but one Corruptor actually has some potential. This is it, Serral. This is as good of a possibility you're ever going to get. The Void Rays are not here.
He's
gonna go for it. Transfuse, transfuse, transfuse on that one Corruptor. That one Corruptor goes down. We do have a Neural Terran.
2 Neurals.
Yep.
Oh, and he's going to turn them on the Tempest themselves. We are going to see the DPS. The transfuse on the Queen. It keeps the Neural Parasite alive. He is going to be able to turn it on his opponent's Tempest. Both of them going down. We've now got just 2 Tempests remaining here from ShoWTimE. One of them solo in HP, but it will survive. The Oracle does get that revelation on the Infestor. And the Infestor, it's going to wear off. Then the Oracle goes down. There's just 2 Tempests remaining. He can burrow these units and hide them.
Yep.
And they're going to go underground.
And now he's got
ShoWTimE
shakes
his head.
Yep.
40 minutes. He's going to... Oh, I think he can... No. He's going to wait for the transfuse.
Yeah,
he's going to play it safe.
He can wait until he maxes out, and there's still one Infestor. That one Infestor...
The thing is, there's nothing that ShoWTimE can do to detect. Every time that he neuroparasites, he can just kill a Tempest or one of the carriers. The Tempest goes down, the second one is gonna fall, and now there's just 2 Void Rays left over. That Tempest is dead. ShoWTimE is running out of units, he's running out of options, and I think Serral has actually done it. GG gets called. What a display. I talked about magic. That was more than magic. That was divinity.
Yona knows it too. He loves it.
Axis again could cause a kill. 2 shield batteries with an overcharge might make that a little sus, and there's only 2 Cyclones with the accelerator upgrade. Still not quite done. Those shield batteries putting in some serious work. Overcharge is popped as the rest of the army from ShoWTimE comes forward and cleans this up basically no problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's so sad. The 2 Cyclones get lifted the moment that upgrade finishes. They don't get to do anything. Okay, there's 1 Cyclone left, but this has been a complete disaster from Maru.
Not touching you, person. Like, they don't have to actually punch you and get in trouble. they can just kind of be like, well, eventually gonna punch, right? Hopefully around the 4th base. I really don't think he should punch, but he's gonna go for it. Wow. Let's see how this actually works out. I mean, the Ghosts did not have enhanced shockwaves. They're certainly surprised, and the Phoenix lives on the tank. Do take 3 to 5 out of the equation. ShoWTimE actually read that absolutely perfectly. He just busted through there, no problem whatsoever. Like, more often, more likely, you're just gonna have a swamp. ShoWTimE is going to have more units, not particularly here right now, as the Zealot Warpins actually went into the Warp Prism for harassments, and that is doing some damage, but over here is what I was talking about, but no shield battery. Okay, nope, there is one in the natural, pretty far back. Robo and Gateway are going to be under fire, and he is now coming through his own choke, which is certainly less ideal, and actually this is what I was talking about, where it just is before those Gateways actually pump out the units, and then the Terran gets a snowball effect.
Yeah, there's just never enough Zealots, and obviously some went across the map and found, 4 workers is very minimal damage. You see the extra Zealots, now they just die so quickly. If you have twice the Zealot numbers going into that fight, then the Zealots always remain, the Stalkers get that much more damage. You really do just kind of run over this army, but never really found those numbers. Cleans out the tanks now, but there's still Vile left over, and of course reinforcements will be streaming across the map at this point as well. So there is more to come from Maru. He gets to the high ground. He's going to take down the battery. He can take down that pylon maybe. He's actually just going to turn and fight the Stalkers. Clearly isn't afraid of the Zealot Warpin. GG's, and Maru will win his first map pick.
Really very low. Even the best Protoss in the world mess up at some point against this.
And ShoWTimE just doesn't have the information. 2 of his Adepts, 3 of his Adepts are all on the map. The Oracle here is pulling back to deal with this, but the Hellions can absolutely deal some damage. The probes at least will begin to pre-split as the Hellions are here to get some damage done. 3, 4 workers killed. So far not terrible. We force a lift up. Oracle will continue to chase this back down to the natural, and ShoWTimE. Now let's see if we can stop it at just this amount of damage done. Obviously we could maybe lift up one of those Hellions. And this is going to be the Phoenix here to shut down the medevac. So it's honestly starting to look really good, considering that 6 probes does not really make up for how late that expansion of Maru is.
There, ShoWTimE underestimates 1 drop, 1 push, then overcompensates somewhere else, and suddenly it is problematic.
Don't really like that. Maru's dodging away from the Disruptor, and honestly, he has surround potential. He's got the army from the top side coming through. ShoWTimE's bringing reinforcements across as well. This game is about to get really interesting as Disruptors are going to dive. One of them will connect, as we do have the Vikings able to make a dive on Colossi. The EMPs are there. The Zealots flanking do not seem like they will do anywhere near enough, and Maru's army is going to shred that of ShoWTimE's. ShoWTimE has to turn tail and run. So he just getting that 3rd CC online. His engineering bay is up. The extra barracks are ready to go. All of that will be active very soon as the medevac here going to get chased again. These Wooden Mine drops just not getting a chance to get through.
The medevac were to live with the Wooden Mines again. I think he just tried 30 seconds later. But the fact that ShoWTimE now denies this twice, and it seems like finally fully... I just love the Phoenix doing it though.
But he's going to rotate around the other way, poke up, take down a couple mines, maybe a missile turret, and maybe even some SCVs, but there's just no need to go firing on all cylinders into this base as 5 SCVs went down. I feel like a Wooden Mine was not really very helpful in that, as there is a good 1 in EMP in Maru. ShoWTimE has to be careful. Maru could maybe get down the ramp and then surround from a couple angles. That's a possibility, so you've got to be a little bit cautious here, as Maru is on 2-2 as well, so his army is really going to trade well if he gets given the chance.
Yes. Again, Maru gets an EMP off first and foremost, and then has the upgrade advantage for fights. Yeah, that'd be...
Mines get to go off, and ShoWTimE keeps moving through. That might have been his mistake during all of this, as now Maru bounces back and is able to get some damage and some value out of the SCVs he lost out on. There's one Zealot. He pulled the SCVs to repair the turret. I was like, oh, that's cool. But the Zealot never got killed. So it maintains to be a problem. ShoWTimE just lost his Archons here as well. EMP'd again and go for this. It feels like this is just, it's still expensive. Don't get me wrong, you're getting value, you're getting SCVs, but you're losing units in the process. I guess with the base count that he has, it's pretty nice, and Disruptor shots like that definitely help as well.
A harder case to crack, so maybe gonna try this one again.
Yep, ShoWTimE just wants to come up this ramp as we do run up here. The Zealots take EMPs to the face straight away. Some of the Disruptors do end up reaching, but the tank shots are deadly. ShoWTimE's army supply plummets right now as Vikings are chasing as well, and a few bio units on top of the Disruptors. The tech is getting reset, and Maru is gonna lose. Maru's gonna kill a whole bunch of stuff. ShoWTimE losing a whole bunch of stuff, and this is the breakout. Suddenly it's a double army supply lead. either. It's realistic to think ShoWTimE has a huge tech army behind this.
Yeah, exactly. And this will, I guess composition we'll talk about in a hot second. Zealots do come on top of the defending army back at home prior to the planetary actually being done. But even though the Zealots might eventually take care of the army right as we're watching, it took them forever to do so. That was one of the least ideal fights for a Zealot possible, and only a handful get to run away, severely injured. Disruptors coming in and just dying as well.
ShoWTimE's going to go back along to the left, trying to deny that third. We've seen fights up throughout this entire game. I mean, he's probably going to get that orbital for sure. SCVs will try and buy a bit of extra time just for free damage on the Zealots. We can replace that orbital instantly though, right? So
Pretty much.
It's a shame to lose it, but not end of the world.
No, he could do it with the main base. He could do it with the fourth wall, I guess, orbital, either one. And actually, just add an extra one. So that's going to die. Okay, but he still has the other ones that I just mentioned. I think we're shooting in different directions. And now Maru has chosen, I think, to consolidate a little bit more on that right side, maybe chasing after the army as it goes up its main ramp. This will actually create a lot of problems if it successfully gets to the main. That's where all the production is. That's where Terran hurts the most. Can ShoWTimE actually get up there? There are Archons might be able to hold the line. They do get EMP'd by lots of things. They're getting awfully low, but the Colossus still alive. Warp Prism still alive, but reinforcements accidentally going through all of that tank fire, and the amount of Protoss units is dwindling. Perhaps a recall might be the best option. It's exactly what he does. ShoWTimE gets out of there with whatever the heck that he can. Can't stop it at all. Forced to retreat from there. So again, at least gonna be able to grab this one. DT's blink on top of it. It's going to be a kill. No, just barely. Yes.
Just
okay. That was awfully sketch indeed. Oh, another planetary went down as well, actually. So this will be 2 bases for 2 by the looks of things, as once again it gets very hectic. ShoWTimE still down 20 army supply, and now that 91 probe lead is like, well, how many bases, how many minerals do you actually have? Is that actually working for you?
Nothing right now, so he really needs to have this. So yeah, he needs that base. Do you see disruptor shots here going to connect pretty decently? A fight like this might be all ShoWTimE needs. The tanks are going down. ShoWTimE maybe doesn't swarm right now, but that's a big reset for Maru, who can't rebuild, where ShoWTimE can keep spamming Zealots. And here we go, extra Zealots coming in right now. We kite away as Maru wants to get out of there, keep these Zealots ineffective. The Stalkers blink in. Are they going to be okay, though? Because the Bioforce can come back through. Maru just keeps winning fights, man. He is now up 40 army supply yet again. Going to deny a base, maybe even 2 of ShoWTimE with his bottom right coming online. I believe there's still DTs down there, though, that could maybe jump on that mineral line, cause some chaos. Yeah, I mean, they need to do that, shut down this mine, and Maru only has 30 SCVs.
It might even be him giving up on the economy. He might just be like, yeah, I guess that might be it, so hopefully I can win a really good engagement. He does still have orbitals to spread around, but orbitals can only last so long. We do have a couple of feedbacks and a storm, couple of storms actually helping out, and the rest of the Protoss army is coming in, well, actually very awkwardly. Those tanks, there's a depth to them, they're actually kind of cleverly placed as well, so that will be tough to break. But I think as long as ShoWTimE can, again, put the brakes on this and keep the base maybe not alive, but alive for as long as possible, he will eventually rebuild. So it's about picking the units off. I don't know about a direct engagement. The tanks, like I said, really well positioned, but it is a bit of a surround by ShoWTimE, so that might be enough. The left side, however, just simply melts. ShoWTimE loses the left side army, most of the right side, and Maru is now at, again, double the army supply. This is the steamroll beginning of the end, or starting the beginning of the end.
But then he had some really bad fights again.
Yeah.
Maru kind of stayed in it.
Yeah.
I think now Maru's army supply is finally not there. I think it's the disruptors actually got to survive more than a fight. But it's just made all of the difference. We're going to try and dive in. But even some of the storms, because sometimes he's been trying to dive the disruptors and the storms did zone him out from doing that. The tanks just not going to be enough here. There's not going to be enough support, and we are going to be seeing another game in this series of ShoWTimE. Cruises forward, finally in this game. It feels like it ends where it all began with this push on that location. ShoWTimE.
Shield battery overcharge. When is the time to go? A depth shade right on top of those Marines would help a lot. It would be just before those bunkers are done. The tank would be a little less effective as well, and this could still be a very good break indeed, as even Maru realized, okay, that's way too many adepts. I'm going to go ahead and get the heck out of here and just try and trade out as much as possible, which he does grab one of the oracles, but not much else on the adept side. Now some of the weak ones going down as he actually reinitiates Vikings land as well, and things are not being cleaned up. Not yet anyways.
Not yet, and the Oracles are going to come back in, but lower energy, we're going to target down one. The tank will end up going down here, but this is hugely expensive for ShoWTimE. Of course, he's going to lose another Oracle, because we didn't charge first, because 12 was late.
Yeah, he also, I don't know if he actually saw this army move out. So his army is in position, but I think it would have wanted to try and tag the army a little bit prior to it actually being sieged up. Is that problem? Shield Battery Overcharge is still good to go, but is there actually anything to be done with the Colossus Interference Matrix yet again? No. There's a second one. And this is looking bad for ShoWTimE, as the tanks are still sieged up, the wood is still alive, and still plenty of bio left over.
I really thought he would have targeted down the super battery a little bit sooner, but doesn't really seem to have mattered here. Battery's now out of energy, super battery is gone, Oracle dying, and this Colossus doesn't really have many legs left to stand on. It's going to go down as well. This base will be broken, and Maru hits with this army that wasn't seen, and all of a sudden he's up quadrupled the army supply, enough for the victory. 4-2, Maru is going to get the W.
This is with Lings as well. The Ravagers bust open the walls, help take down some of the Hellions, move them away, and then the Lings get into every nook and cranny. They also get those surrounds a lot of the time, too. Now, Maru is trying to make the best out of a terrible situation, going up to that main base, trying to get the Banshee, but only after the Raven actually finished. He does not have a lot to work with. Stimpack gets denied, but that might be actually the least of Maru's problems. He still has so much Zerg in the base, looking for a map victory right off the bat. Serral knew that there was going to be a weakness in Maru's build, and he went for the throat, right? One of the worst case scenarios for a Zerg player who also, of course, hatched first. Usually more than expected thing. Immediate drone pool on top of the bunker is going to force that cancel. And another one is going to be planted down before the creep actually extends that far. We can see the action of both players currently, as now it is all micro-focused.
Exactly, all but 7 drones being pulled right there. We're going to see Serral trying to come in here, get the surround, but Maru with some nice maneuvers. Oh, Serral closing the jaws. We will see those Marines still getting taken down. Nice little split on the drones to go after the 2 additional Marines that were reinforcing, but this is already quite a bit of damage here. 6 drones falling and all that lost mining time. You talked about being held. Well, it was held, but at what cost?
I go for a Link, Baneling, all in. Like I was even mentioning that earlier in the tournament. Doesn't feel that likely from Zergs anymore. 2 Lings will be a bother, and they will see the straight up audacity of Maru getting a low ground command center after that, but it's not much more they can do.
But that's a lot that they've done right there. That is pretty significant, I gotta say. Not only does he kill the SCV, which is quite nice, but he delays the command center for a significant period of time here. And we're actually seeing no repair. Maru, speaking of audacity, he just doesn't care. He's like, yeah, it's fine. I know the 2 Lings aren't going to kill this. Like, I actually kind of like it. Maru still hasn't seen it. Oh, beautiful wall with the Spore. Oh, man, still 2 drones going to fall. We are going to see a fair bit of damage so far. This doesn't look like anything to Maru. Oh, that Hellion. They're about to pop.
About. Okay, he saw it. All right, and this is a large map. The rush distance actually fairly nice, and with that scout immediately builds a Banshee in a bunker. Very important right there.
It certainly could. Banshee's not yet out. We do see that bunker going down very quickly here. There's not a ton of combat units, and Serral has a huge army supply lead. This is looking quite dangerous, actually, for Maru. We are going to see the repair coming on in, and as you said, the Banshee is going after those Ravagers. The Ling's going to wrap around on the Hellies, and the tank blocking the wall. No, Maru, not like this.
Yeah, unfortunately like this. I mean, hey, the bunker is still holding, surprisingly enough, so no more units will be able to come into the main, or maybe even the natural. For problem, you still have the delayed 4th base, though. Like, it's not coming down anytime soon. So that is still an issue. Maru absolutely still has to do damage. Unfortunately, Serral is going to interrupt things with a little bit of a Baneling run-by. Maru was preparing for some type of run-by with the rally to supply depot, just not that much. But with all the army of the Zerg on the other side of the map, what is left at home? Some Banelings did form up, but the Terran is already deep onto creep. Maybe that's a bad thing, as he almost gets surrounded with the Banelings closing in, but not quite. Those Marines slip out of the Ling's grasp, and while the forward tank actually does get destroyed, 2 tanks still anchor this push.
They certainly do. We've got Maru doing his best. He is going to try and go after this hatchery. There is reinforcements coming across the map. Maru needs those desperately. Serral wants to break this push before that point, but the tanks are so well placed. The Marines are going to show up, and that's going to give Maru the firepower he needs to clean up this army. Very well done there from Maru, but Serral, I mean, he made a fight of it. You're going to see a big push coming on in. And just going to clear some creep here. Nice job.
it's like deceptive because there's a lot of units, but then the actual units themselves, they aren't that impressive. The Hellions do still take care of Lings as good as ever, and the medevac could have always picked something up and then went a different direction, forced a bit of a split, but that died. Depots, but Maru, ooh.
Oh, pull,
Yeah, it is
pull.
going to kill a decent amount of SCVs. That was a bit of a late pull. Maru is going to pull them back into a very safe position tank. 7 SCVs still go down. A little bit of distraction as well, but Maru still gets set up on the front lines on Serral's 4th base. Already trying to get something done there. Oh, okay, that's where Serral's army was. He had already set up the surround and just comes in, completely wipes the floor with Maru, and Maru just is like, I guess I'll get out with these units. Okay, cool. Serral is the one that's kind of ready and willing to engage. That's when I'm concerned about it. It looks like he is going to be forced to evacuate at least temporarily. Nope, going to actually pull the trigger, try and go for the fight. The tanks are sieged, the libs are sieged, the tank depth is really good as well, and yet Serral will continue forward. Getting some abducts. EMP does go down to try and stop some of the Vipers from doing more damage, but honestly, the Vipers had already been kind of taken care of. It was just the depth of Terran army that I think Serral might have underestimated at you. And even if you have a very good defensive setup, it seems unlimited, and Maru needs to take better fights than this one. He is going to get pounced upon by those Banelings. The Ghost cloak up, try to save their lives, but there's still so much Zerg left over. Lots of SCVs going down. Planetary once again falling, and Maru has not made any improvement in this game. In fact, he's taken a couple steps back.
Or, well, a couple tanks and some ghosts. Oh, and now we see the SCVs. They're going to get forced away. He's going to lose a fair number of them. And Maru, well, now I'm pretty sure he's got to go.
Yeah. Well, got to go, like, move his army? Or
No,
just be
like,
I gotta go.
He's got to attack right this second.
Yeah, it's not going to work out very well. Neural Parasite is basically denied, but there's just so few units here. Now, Serral's army supply really isn't all that impressive either, if we're considering the situation. Obviously, you look at the overall supply, and you're like, well, Maru's absolutely dead.
Maru's like, he's like finally found, you know, a couple of coins, maybe 35 cents. Oh, the Neuroparasite on the Ghost. Well, that's actually just going to be lights out right there. Beautiful ending from Serral.
The kind of like inevitable 5th base. He certainly struggled to get the 5th base before, but was completely denied in that last game. Medevac does go down, but only after unloading the Wood of Mines. All of them get some pretty decent shots. 12 drones and a handful of Baneling, and then another attack off to the left. Actually does more damage to the Marines.
Well, I mean, Widowmine, man, giveth, Widowmine taketh away.
But even Serral prepping for perhaps a very late game while also going in for the engagement. This time the Vipers were EMP'd rather perfectly right from the get-go. Ghosts are tucked in the back, nice and, well, relatively safe. Yeah, I got to run a little bit more past the Planetary, which does hold, but the 5th base Planetary did not. That was at least successfully cracked.
Mind out situation quite soon, and finally we're going to see Maru start to do something aggressively with the nuke. He's got a nuke ready to go, but here comes the Lurkers. Abduct on the Liberator. Lings and Banes are moving on forward. We are going to see an EMP hitting those Vipers at the tail end. The Ghosts are not being split, but the Planetary is going to provide the defense that was necessary. Great hold once again from Maru.
Yeah.
And he stays alive once more.
Even better.
Even better, he is starting to gain some defensive velocity here. A little bit of momentum on this hold.
Maybe this isn't the biggest of deals, because Serral also didn't commit a lot of units into it, but it is going to, send something back to deal with it. In this case, it was literally all the Ghosts, which seems like a straight-up mistake to me, as the Ling, Baneling, Viper comes down the front lines. There's not that much bio. The tanks trying their best to stop the flood of Zerg, and the Planetary once again there to help, but finally that gets destroyed, and Maru, well, that is not a good supply to me, man. 120 supply to 187. After things seem to be going better, it all really did fall apart with that Nidus Worm. And not even because of the Nidus Worm itself, it just drew so many units back. It drew his attention away.
This could be devastating. The Lings, the Banes, they're coming on forward. There's the Neuroparasite. He gets the EMP once again. The Banes, they're rolling on forward. They are going to continue on forward for now. Just kidding. They're going to back off. They're going to get out of here. But Maru can't even hold this 5th. Serral is bleeding him out.
I know Ghosts are good, guys, but you also maybe need like an economy and some splash and maybe more than 2 Marines. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But Maru can't get there. He's on his last life in TSL, the last representative for Korea too. But Serral, he has been dying to get this victory. Denied twice from Zerg players, but it looks like going up against the Terran, he will finally be getting this achievement. TSL 9 goes to Serral. Well played by him.